In 2006, a beautiful 13-year-old girl from the St. Charles County area thought she had made a new friend online. His name was supposed to be Josh Evans. He was supposed to be 16. He was supposed to be kind. But Josh Evans was not real. And this was not some harmless little internet prank. This was not kids being kids. This was not just online. This was adults, deception, humiliation, and a legal system that had to look at the damage and admit something uncomfortable. The internet had moved faster than the law. So today, we're talking about Megan Meier. Not for gossip, not for shock value, not to turn a child's pain into content. We're talking about it because what happened to Megan still matters. And because some people still need to learn that a screen name is not a free pass to be cruel. Welcome to the Missouri Grit Files. This is where we look at Missouri cases through facts, common sense, and a little bit of how the hell did this get allowed to happen. Today's case is close to the St. Charles area, but let me be clear right up front. This is not a murder mystery. This is not spooky tourism, and we're not driving by private homes like weirdos with a camera. That's not what we do here. This episode is about Megan Taylor Meier, a 13-year-old girl whose death forced parents, schools, and lawmakers, prosecutors, and eventually a federal court to confront something they should have understood already. Online cruelty is still cruelty. The platform may be digital, the damage is not. Before the fake profile, before the court case, before all the internet law arguments, there was Megan, a 13-year-old girl, a daughter, a friend, a sister, a kid trying to survive middle school, emotions, security, friendship drama, and all the messy stuff that comes with being 13. And that matters because people love to flatten victims into headlines. Like the MySpace case, the cyberbullying case, the fake boyfriend case. No, Megan was not a case title. She was a child. And adults should have acted like adults. In 2006, Megan began communicating on MySpace with someone using the name Josh Evans. She believed Josh was a teenage boy, but Josh Evans was fake. And not fake in the silly catfish on the internet way people joke about now. Fake is in a made-up identity used to gain access to a vulnerable child's emotions. Fake as in someone put on a mask and stepped into a child's life with an agenda. According to the Megan Meier Foundation, the fake profile was connected to adults associated with the family of one of Megan's former friends. The purpose was to communicate with Megan, gain her confidence, and find out what she was saying online about another girl. Now, let's not dress this up. That is just plain manipulation. And when adults are involved, it's even worse. It's just outright disgusting. Because adults are supposed to de-escalate child conflict, not grab a shovel and dig the damn hole deeper. For a while, Megan believed this person liked her. The tone changed. The messages became cruel. The humiliation escalated. And the emotional fallout was devastating. Megan died by suicide in October of 2006, shortly before her 14th birthday. And I'm not going to read the cruel messages for shock value here. I've read them. I don't think they need to be repeated. Excuse me. And I'm not going to dramatize her final moments. That is not why we are here. The point is this: people, adults, used a screen name like a weapon, and a child paid the price. And if that sentence makes you uncomfortable, it should. Now, people love to say it was just online. That phrase needs to be retired permanently, because just online still reaches your phone, it reaches your bedroom, it reaches your school day, it reaches your nervous system, it reaches the part of your brain that wonders if everybody is laughing at you. And for a vulnerable child, online humiliation is not pretend, it is real. And in Megan's case, the consequences were devastating. So, no, this was not just online. It was online harm with real world consequences. Now, this is the part that makes people angry, and honestly, it should. I mean, we all know kids can be cruel. We know that. It does not excuse it, but we know it happens. But when adults step into child conflict and make it worse, that's a different level of failure. Adults are supposed to be the guardrails, not the getaway car. Adults are supposed to say enough, not hide behind a fake profile and stir the pot like they're still in seventh grade. The internet did not create cruelty. It just gave cowards better costumes. And after Megan's death, people wanted charges. Of course they did. When something feels this wrong, people want the law to step in and say, this crossed the line. But here is where the case gets ugly in a different way. You see, Missouri prosecutors said the law at the time did not clearly fit the facts well enough to bring local criminal charges. And that is a hard pill to swallow. Because morally, a lot of people looked at this and said, are you kidding me? But prosecutors cannot charge someone for being a terrible person. They cannot charge someone with common sense should have stopped you. Being a horrible person is not a crime. Being stupid and not having common sense isn't a crime. They needed a statute. They needed legal elements. And they needed something that they could prove in court. And Megan's case exposed a nasty little truth. Sometimes behavior can be cruel, reckless, and destructive, and the law still has a hole big enough for the accountability to fall through. But the case didn't stop there. When the Missouri legal path hit a wall, federal prosecutors tried another route. The case moved into federal court in California because MySpace was based there. Lori Drew was charged under the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act, often called the CFAA. That is a federal computer crime law. The government's theory was that creating and using the fake MySpace profile violated MySpace terms of service, and that violating those rules could count as unauthorized access. Now, on paper, I understand why prosecutors tried it. They were looking for a legal tool because the existing ones were not built for this mess. But here's the problem. If breaking a website's terms of service becomes a federal crime, then over half the internet could be in trouble by lunchtime. Fake birthday? Fake name? Do you share your password? Click I agree without reading 20 pages of legal soup? Congratulations. Now we've got a legal nightmare. Drew was actually convicted of a misdemeanor CFAA violations, but the judge later threw out those convictions. And this is the part people need to understand. The court was not saying the conduct was fine. The court was saying you cannot stretch criminal law this far just because the facts are horrible. That matters. Because bad facts do not get to create sloppy law. If website terms of service can become criminal law, then criminal law becomes whatever a private company writes in its user agreements. And nobody wants that. So the federal case became bigger than Megan's case alone. It became a question about where accountability ends, where overreach begins, and what happens when technology moves faster than the lawmakers. Now, Megan's case helped push cyberbullying into a national conversation. Missouri later changed its harassment laws to better address electronic communication and online harassment. But one of the biggest pieces of Megan's legacy is the work her mother, Tina Meier, built afterward. The Megan Meier Foundation, based in St. Charles, focuses on bullying, cyberbullying, and suicide prevention education. And that matters because this case is not frozen in 2006. MySpace is not the center of the internet anymore. But the behavior, that mess is still here. Today, we've got TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, Discord, text messages, group chats, anonymous accounts, fake profiles, AI-generated images, private messages. The platforms change. The responsibility does not. So what do we do with this case now? Because if all we do is say that was terrible and then move on, we miss the point. This case forces us to ask hard questions. Why do people treat online cruelty like it's less real? Why do adults sometimes make child conflict worse instead of stopping it? Why do platforms move faster than laws? And why do we hold people accountable? How do we hold people accountable without creating messy, overbroad laws that can be abused later? And maybe the biggest question of all, what would change if adults stopped dismissing digital cruelty until after something terrible happens? Now, here's where I land on this. I do not think the takeaway is simple. Watch your kids online. Yeah, watch your kids online. But also watch the adults. Watch the grown people who excuse cruelty as a joke. Watch the ones who say, I was just messing around. Watch the ones who need a fake account to say what they are too damn cowardly to attach to their real name. Watch the ones who stir conflict and then act shocked when the fallout is bigger than they expected. Because what you type counts. What you encourage counts. What you ignore counts. And what you laugh off counts. And if a child is being targeted, isolated, humiliated, or manipulated online, that is not drama. That is danger. A fake profile is not harmless when the target is a real child. If you need a fake account to say it, maybe you shouldn't say it. And if your idea of handling kid drama is to jump in and make it worse, then you're not helping. You're part of the problem. Megan Meier should have grown up. This is the part we cannot clean up with legal language. She should have had birthdays. She should have had bad hair days, good friends, dumb crushes, new dreams, second chances, and a whole life beyond 13. So when we talk about this case, the question cannot just be what happened. The better question is, what do we do differently now? Because Megan's story showed us that online harm can become real world harm. It showed us that the law can lag behind technology. It showed us that adult accountability matters. And it showed us that people do not get to hide behind just online when the damage is very, very real. The platform changed. MySpace is no longer the center of the internet, but the fake accounts, the group chat pile-ons, the screenshots, the humiliation, the adults pretending they didn't know it was that serious, that behavior is still alive and well. And people still need to be reminded. Digital behavior is real behavior. Online harm is real harm. And adults do not get to act shocked after ignoring every warning sign. If this episode brought up anything heavy for you, please reach out. In the U.S., you can call or text 988 or use the chat at 988lifeline.org/chat. Learn more about Megan's story and the prevention work being done through the Megan Meier Foundation at meganmeierfoundation.org. This has been the Missouri Grit File. Facts first, people first, no exploitation.